Welcome to the TIMFD podcast. Today is my favorite day is about appreciating every day as it comes, no matter what life throws at us. We hope that this podcast speaks to you, and if it does, please like, share, and comment. Now let's find out why today is our favorite day this week.
Hi everybody, this is David Towner, and today is my favorite day podcast, and this is DAve Doresy from Oasis Pregnancy Centers, and we are glad that you're here.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk a little bit about some events coming up and things, but also just talk about what the ministry is about. We've had you here before,
right.
But what I'd like to do is, guys, I know Tanya and I have a passion for this. We're excited about it. Actually, Tanya spoke at one of your guys' events, which was nice. But can you just explain what Oasis does generally, just really quick?
Sure. We are blessed to be participating in the life of young women and families. I like to say it like this, Pastor Dave. We are blessed to provide as much emotional, physical, spiritual support that we can to women and families in planned and unplanned pregnancy circumstances. A number of years ago, our founder, Pete Castellani, about 3 years in, the Lord impressed upon him that that woman who comes in who is not necessarily thinking about terminating a pregnancy is just as lost as that woman who is coming in and wondering whether she should make that decision or not. So we're blessed. Anyone who comes through our door, we try and figure out a way. Lord, help us to figure out a way to support this woman or this couple in any way possible.
And one of the things I like is you guys do prenatal care. You do postnatal care. Is there sonograms and that kind of stuff that go with this?
We provide, all our services are provided at no cost to our client.
Which is perfect.
Starts out with a lab quality pregnancy test. Many of our clients come in, they've gone to CVS or Walgreens, and those aren't necessarily reliable. So we provide that lab quality test. And depending on how far, based on their paperwork, they'll tell us. We like to get them into the ultrasound room and provide an ultrasound for them. As we like to say, we're blessed to be able to be the first to introduce them to their child on that TV screen.
Which is awesome. Which is awesome.
Yes.
And also the thing I noticed too is that you guys have counselors, people who sit down with these folks, and I get a notice of this. So I want to talk before we go any further, because we're kind of going to go through the steps. This right here, he's full of cards on our table right here, but this is the first one. And can you tell me a little bit more where now the woman is in the room with this counselor. The counselor finds out that this person is thinking about abortion, that happens, of course. So what happens at that particular moment?
Well, that's part of the process, and this is our Pray for Babies ministry that we just started in the last 6 months.
I know, it's awesome.
And when we meet with a client and they're unsure what to do, we go through a process of providing them information, as much information as we possibly can about all three options that they have. Adoption. And we have vetted multiple adoption agencies in the Hillsborough and Pasco County area, so that if they choose that, while they're going through our program of carrying that child, they can also meet with someone who can help navigate them through that process of adoption. Obviously, we talk about parenting. We fight for the life of the child, and we want them to be as successful as they possibly can as a parent. But we also give them medically accurate information about abortion, because we know it's an emotional time.
Yes, it is.
But we want them to have as much information about all the options that they have. Now, if they start talking to us about thinking about terminating the pregnancy, our volunteer or our trained staff all have iPads or tablets in the room with them.
They're taking information down.
They're taking information down is exactly right. But when the thought or the conversation comes up about abortion, our advocates, our client advocates or our trained staff can reach up very subtly and hit a button on their iPad, and that sends out in real time to cell phones everywhere.
That's pretty amazing.
A prayer request to pray right at that moment. I'll tell you, Pastor Dave, it's nothing, I'm in it. But I'm sitting at my desk and I'm looking at spreadsheets and looking at databases and things like that. When I see that prayer request come through, that really sobers me to realize there's a decision being made of life and death right now.
And that's to me the exciting part. I'm in that prayer ministry, so and I see certain ladies that are counselors that just and their name pops up a lot because they happen to be in one of the more active, you said Tampa has a lot more going on with that. And I remember seeing the same names and saying, hey, could you please pray for this? But they don't say the name or anything of the woman, but they say, hey, would you please pray for the counselor? And you give the name of the counselor and the woman that is in there at that time. And it's powerful because you could just stop, pray quickly, and keep going,
Yes.
And to me, that's real time, real thing. So if you're interested in something like that, do that. The reason why I got involved with it, my wife many years ago, 39 years ago, got pregnant out of wedlock, and she went to a doctor, and the doctor said, why don't you pray about it? And she had only been in church for like 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
She went to a VBS, and they gave her a Bible long ago, and she went, you know what, I'm going to look into that. And she ended up keeping Shayna. We have 4 grandsons from that. Guys, prayer is powerful. Prayer is powerful. Absolutely. And so this is real important. We'll put it on our links and stuff and make sure you get this, but get on that if you can.
Yeah. So let me just add.
Yeah.
You are stating it very well. I mean, I should have said this at the very beginning. You have recognized this years ago, and God continues to remind me that a heart is not changed or a mind is not changed unless the Holy Spirit does a work in that person's heart or mind.
Absolutely.
And that comes from us knocking on heaven's door, asking, seeking, and knocking.
That's right.
And we want to get as many people knocking on heaven's door at that moment that we possibly can.
And that's the power of that.
Yes.
So for me, this is gigantic, and I love that you guys are doing that. So we have the clients in there. They let's say they choose life. They have options. Right. Prenatal care can go up to like 12 months or 1 year, basically. With
well,
this,
it's
correct?
Prenatal. There's a curriculum.
I mean, postnatal. Sorry,
right.
Postnatal.
There's a curriculum that we have. It's called Bright Course, and I tell people this. I wish my wife and I had known about it when our daughter. We didn't necessarily need the services, but my goodness,
just the teaching itself.
Yes, there's how to care for yourself prenatally, how to care for a newborn, how to care for a 3-month-old.
All important.
There's a postpartum depression component to this.
That's awesome.
There's a financial management component. Basically, what we try and do is provide as solid a foundation for that young family that first year of the child's life as we possibly can.
Yeah. See, and the exciting part about this is that we have a group that's just in this community here, which is amazing, that we can actually be a part of. Churches can be a part of and help in the support of this. And so you're hearing all the different things. You have prenatal, the sonograms, all that kind of stuff. Postnatal, all the teaching, all that kind of stuff going on there. And what I love about this, and what I like, is you guys are connected to adoption agencies and different groups. Because my wife, if you haven't seen her story, she gave up a child for adoption when she was in a place that she just wasn't in a good place at that time. And her name is Carrie, and Carrie now is a mom.
Wow.
And so the life is so important. Her story is pretty crazy, but and awesome of redemption. I love her for that. So we see the importance of not only this help, but also the help of getting people an opportunity for adoption or become that parent. And so in our case, my wife did both. And that's what you guys do, which I think is amazing.
And I will add that the ultimate goal for us is to be able to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with our clients. From the very beginning, we talked about prayer a minute ago. It's interesting. What we like to do is get a client connected to a specific client advocate, and they begin that journey together. So when a client comes in, we want them to be able to see the same client advocate every week.
That's exactly how it should be.
They build a relationship.
Awesome.
And even from the beginning, we ask them, is there anything we can pray with you about? From the very first. But as our executive director, April Beck, April well.
I know April real well.
April says it like this, and I really appreciate it. We want to work to earn the right to be able to share the gospel with them. And so over time, that relationship grows, and it's not just a educational thing. It becomes a friendship between that client and that client advocate, so that we can ask the question about who Jesus is. Last year, as an example, we were blessed to see 43 of our clients begin a new relationship with Jesus Christ.
And then that's what it is. It's all about. So you're talking about the great commandment to love God and love others, and we love others through this program, obviously, and then the Great Commission to go tell people about the good news.
Absolutely.
And I know you guys have classes, lots of stuff going on, connected churches everywhere. That's the beauty of this. So we have all that going on. There's also another component of this program. So I want to get to some of the stuff so you can kind of go, maybe something touches you. And that's what we're hoping for.
Yes.
So the other part that I really like that's connected to you guys, if a family has gone through an abortion,
right,
there's also another kind of component over there there's another component over there
yes,
where someone who's gone through that and feels a pain, because that's what I've heard. I'm not a woman, so I can't say what I would feel in that, but what I've heard from women who have gone through that, there is a pain involved, almost it's a soul pain that goes on.
Yes.
And I don't know exactly what that feels like. I could just imagine, but you guys have a component where you can help people work through that and get to a healthy place where they're not beating themselves up. And if someone beats them up, they don't take it, personally. They realize I'm saved by grace. And what is that going on?
That's our Healing Grace Ministry.
Okay, there we go.
And I wave the flag of that ministry all the time because the numbers are pretty staggering, Pastor Dave. 1 in 4 people in the United States, families, have been impacted by abortion.
Yep.
And I can cite where they come from, but time doesn't allow us. But the average time from the time a woman has experienced her abortion or a man has influenced that abortion
that's true,
to the time that they seek spiritual, emotional, any kind of help is 25 years. So I'm very aware that when I stand up and make a presentation in a local church or any organization, I'm aware that there's somebody sitting there that's carrying emotional baggage that they don't need to. Our responsibility before God is not done even if they make a decision that we don't agree with.
Yeah.
We want them to understand that even in that place, that God is gracious and forgives, and they can be set free of that anger, that sadness, that sorrow, all of those things that they've experienced. And it's fascinating. They go from being someone who sits on the back row back there, slips in late,
and sleeps out,
leaves early, ask them about serving in children's ministry, and all of a sudden you get, I don't think so, to now becoming, when they understand God's grace in a way, quite frankly, that I never will, they become some of the strongest, they love Jesus, and they want to share with people, and they'll serve in children's ministry,
Well, it's funny, if you talk about what it is, it's basically recovering from a traumatic experience.
Ding, ding.
And
Yes,
with us, we have a big CR here, Celebrate Recovery, and we see that all the time, including that world.
Yes.
Of people who are recovering, and when they see recovery with Jesus, they just go for it because they realize that we're saved. I'm one of those persons through alcohol and being out of control when I was younger, to being saved, to being healed, to be able to make a difference in this world. And there's just joy in that.
Yes.
There's just joy in that.
Absolutely.
And my wife actually leads our Celebrate Recovery and recovering from her past and the pains of her life. And so that's the wonderful part. So I want to bring that up, also here.
I wave that flag every chance I get.
That's awesome. Now, we also have something coming up that's near and dear to my heart too. I like going on walks. I was a runner at one time, had 2 back surgeries, had to now do stuff mostly indoors. My brother was a marathon runner. We're not doing a marathon here, but we are doing a walk. You guys are doing a walk.
Yes.
It's called Baby Steps for Life.
That's correct.
Can you explain all that? And what's it for and all that kind of thing?
Well, it's our spring fundraiser.
Yep.
That we decided would be a neat way to get families involved in participating. So it's a fun walk. It's not a competitive walk.
Yeah, I know.
Or a competitive
I was kind of going, no, I want to get to know. Yeah, it's relaxed.
It's a relaxed walk, but it gets us out and allows a large number of people to get more information about our ministry. And enjoy a beautiful morning.
It's a community thing.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. And the setting that we do it at the Tampa Bay Baptist Conference
it's beautiful.
Center,
I love it.
is around the lake there, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The hospitality there has been wonderful. And again, it's a great way for us to get our message out because, as you know, we ask people to support walkers.
Yes.
And that's family, friends, people all over the country, whoever. Send in $10, $15, $50, whatever. But what that's allowed us to do is to be able to expand our message out to a much broader audience of people who, A, had no idea we existed, and even more so, had no idea what we do at the Pregnancy Resource Center.
Yeah.
So it really has helped us educate a lot more people about our ministry And we've seen people step to the plate and even begin to support us on a regular basis as a result of our walk.
And it's a fun thing. I know for us, we have some teams from our church that are going, and they're collecting money and getting people behind it and stuff, and it's going to be fun. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. The big thing for us with our church was just saying, okay, let's put it on our calendar. That's the hardest thing, is just get on the calendar. And literally we needed to have somebody that was going to be our connection person here at the church. It was Bill Edelman, who is the one that said, hey, David, I'll do that. And Bill is a more mature man, ex-military, and he said, this is something that's a passion for me. And he's been very helpful for us to kind of get that going in our church. So we want to encourage other churches, if you guys watch this, because I know I have some pastors and stuff that watch this thing. If you guys are involved with this, look for the links, click on it. And I don't think it'd be too late for them to get involved.
No, not at all.
So they can get involved with it. And maybe you just want yourself and a couple other people just to kind of feel it out. You could do that too. But it's a blast. You're going to have a good time. And by the way, the Tampa Bay Baptist Conference Center has a huge lake on it.
Yes.
It's a beautiful environment. So.
Yeah, it is. That is Saturday, February 25th.
That's right.
Registration check-in starts at 9. The walk starts at 9:30. We'll be done by 11, so it doesn't take up the whole day. And again, you come out and you see the whole body of Christ from a bunch of churches that get together for the common cause of fighting for life.
Yeah, and it doesn't take the whole day, and that's good, because I have a grandson that's going to be playing in a pretty high-end football game later on that day. So I get to go to this, and I'll jet on over there and watch that. So we wanted to just bring these different things up from the organization, because it's an organization that's living out the Great Commandment, living out the Great Commission. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, right? This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Right. Huge deal that you guys love. All of you guys love the Lord, and you're trying to express that love to the people who walk in.
Yes.
And then living out the Great Commission by telling people about Jesus, teaching them, right? And so that's you want to get an organization that's actually buying into what the whole Bible's about. There's a great organization to get involved with. So I want to encourage you guys, if you haven't gotten involved with these things, check out the stuff on our links as we put them out there. And my hope is that you'll get connected. That's the hope. So lastly, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself? How long you've been married? You have any kids? All that kind of stuff.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you asking me that. In fact,
he's not as mature, but he's a mature man.
Well, I have been blessed to be married to my mate. This year will be 49 years, brother.
I love that.
And in reality, she is part of the inspiration for me participating in this. Years ago, she got connected with a group of women who wanted to help.
And your wife's name is?
My wife's name is Martha.
Martha? Okay.
She's the best half of me, brother.
There we go, man. 49 years, man. That's awesome.
And I tell people I'm blessed because she still smiles at me at the end of every day. But she got involved.
I've seen her look at you. I know that's good. You're very blessed.
And she got involved with a group of women who helped start what was then the North Tampa Crisis Pregnancy Center.
Okay.
And was helping in the administrative side. And I kind of got a glimpse of what was going on. And then about 12 or 13 years ago, she was serving longtime church secretary.
Got it.
And she was always the one responsible for calling the North Tampa Center and getting speakers, baby bottle campaign, do whatever they did, getting them in front of our church family at the time to keep us informed. And so when I ended up joining the church staff for a season.
Yep.
And so I became involved, and I started seeing it even more up close and personal. So really, it's her influence with me early on that created a sensitivity to what was happening here locally in the fight for life.
So what do you see in your wife? What do you would say the qualities that you see in her? Because this all ties to this, guys. That's why I'm trying to bring this up.
Yeah, she is steady as a rock. Life experiences with her, and brother, all of us have been dinged and have our stuff. But to see the steadiness and the faithfulness in her life and her, I tell people this: she is as diligent as the day is long. She's just a dedicated person, and not only that, she's a beautiful woman. Loyalty and respect that you get all from that. So that's the joy that he has within his marriage. Now, so I wanted to know: here's a leader in Oasis. Mm-hmm. He knows what it is to be married. He's been married a long time, obviously. And you can hear that his wife had the passion for this early on that brought you into it. Yes. And you were wise enough to listen. That's absolutely true, man. Absolutely true. You know what? Teachability is a good thing. Yes, it is. In marriage, it's an awesome thing. Right. So
I want you to connect with David because, oh, by the way, kids, anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. We'll have families out there pushing strollers in the walk.
So they can come in with babies on our stroller.
Absolutely. More the better.
Awesome. So make sure you guys do that because it's going to be fun. So I want to thank you, Dave, for being here.
Well, thank you, brother.
Remember that you can pray for the ladies, and we'll put that out there, and you can join in with baby steps. Make sure you do that.
Yes.
Because we're going to be doing some cool things in the community. This is in the Tampa Bay area, and you guys are making a difference.
Thank you,
brother. I'd love to have our church and our community involved with that.
We're very appreciative.
That's the end of that. Today's my favorite day. This is Dave and Dave. Hey, that's pretty good. Guys, have a great day. Take it easy. Bye.
Thank you for listening to TIMFD. Today is my favorite day. Views, comments, and opinions are those of the host and guest alone, and Dave and Sam are solely responsible for the content of this podcast. TIMFD is produced and directed by Alex Korn. Music is composed and performed by Chuck Fott. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, live intentionally, and be very blessed.